At this point, I don't know what to say that hasn't been said before, that I haven't said myself before. It's not the loss that's frustrating. It's not the play that's frustrating. What frustrates me most about the Kaizer Chiefs is that we are seeing the same mistakes over and over and over again. What frustrates me is that it feels like this team does not go back on Monday practices or whatever and look at what they were doing and try and correct some of the problems that we've seen week in and week out now for the whole season. I mean, what more can I tell you? Dupree's still playing a false nine type role, still refusing to line up with the defenders so he can run through. We had one chance that Umdu played through where he used his pace, got beyond the defenders and caused some problems. Why don't we see those things more often? Christian Saile started this game for some reason, even though we know that Christian Saile, over the seasons that we've been with him, we understand that he's better finishing games, whereas the last 15 minutes is broken down, tactics are out the window, it's two teams going back and forth against each other. That is when it is best, because when you put him in the wing position, he does the same thing. Trepa bolo, step over, lose the ball. Trepa bolo, don't make the pass for the run, or don't pass the person who's running. Step over, lose the ball. We've seen that. But now we've put it on top of the fact that when he was on the left-hand side, you're not covering Uditlokwe. So Uditlokwe is in the same situation that Cross was in a lot of times. I don't have cover, I have to push up. And when I push up like that, it puts Dotley and and Miguel into problems, because Dotley follows, and because they don't speak, they both follow each other into those spaces. There was a counter-attack that was going to be a similar goal to what Polokwane City did to us in the 2-0 win, where the ball, they're countering. Both our centre-backs are running towards the guy with the ball, not caring about what's happening behind them. So, communication, check. You have the same problem up front where, because we commit 4 players up to the top, if you don't have a conductor in that 4, like Sirino's not there, you find players that run. Hashem, they run. Abomdu, they run. Aboduba, they run. Abotupris, they run. Abosaile, they run. But because you don't have a brain, a player who is responsible for making that final pass to the players, you again just do a lot of running. And to be honest with you, Cape Town City, to start off this game, did not have, their defense was bare. So Chiefs was overwhelming them with the fact that we have 4 players that were pushing at them. So at times when either of their left or right backs pushed, there was plenty of moments where Chiefs had more players after winning back the ball, but couldn't make the right decision. There was a point where Umdu literally was a 3v2. Umdu, CTM is coming out. All he needed to do was to pass it inside, and it would have been 1v1 with the goalkeeper. He decides to turn around. Cape Town City didn't have a set CDM, so there wasn't cover for that defense, which meant that not only do you have the 3 attackers up top, if your last person or the last 2, Mart and whoever was at the 10 in the time, could also pick off balls from the top of the box. We had chances, we had opportunities, but there was no decision making. Similar case with the Cape Town City, because Cape Town City then realized that if they were to win the ball back and go on a counter, they would also be facing a similar situation with the Chiefs, where Chiefs has 2 defenders back, or even 1 at times. The goal came from a 1, even 1 at times on transition. But if they were to make the proper passes, if they were to make the proper decisions inside the box, even the goal was shaky, but if they were to make proper decisions inside that box, they could have also scored plenty of goals versus the Kaizer Chiefs. Sorry to interrupt the video that I'm sure you're enjoying, but I just wanted to say thank you for all of the support that you guys have shown me and my Overthinking Football platform. I'm a one-man band that's doing all of this, and I really do enjoy the comments about how, you know, Supersport needs to come fetch me and SABC and all of that stuff. And I think it speaks to the quality of the content, but also the amount of effort that I put in. So I just wanted to say thank you. But the truth is that Abu Supersport and all of those guys, yes, we're competing with them, but it's a completely different place. The sponsors are looking for former players, and to be honest with you, running some of these things is getting so difficult, and things have changed at home. So financially, it's a whole different world. So I wanted to try something new and come to the overthinkers, the people who watch the content, and say it would be incredible if you guys could contribute monthly towards the platform, towards keeping my lights on, but also making sure that all of the crazy things that I want to do, that I want to take Supersport on with, I can actually do. And just for 20 Rand every month, I think that would be an incredible contribution if you can make it. It may sound like a little, but if we can get a lot of people behind it, then we'll be able to carry on doing what I do. I'll be able to carry on giving you the content and also expanding it, because we don't have shows like this, and us content creators need help from our audiences. So I just came here to ask you if you can. Here is the account number that you guys can use in order to contribute. And I think, yeah, I'd be very grateful if you would. But anyway, let's get back to the video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. But I think Cape Town City aside, that's a team where head coach now Mushin Etrigal has been with the team proper for a week. Not even a week. It's a guy who has come in to a Cape Town City team that has lost his head coach, that is going through problems. You could even see with Unotata that he's been off for a very long time, because he was one of the big culprits with making the final ball. You could tell that maybe they're not used to the shape of Umushin Atragal, which is why he had to bring in Amato and Mokocho in the second half in order just to give them a little bit more shape. You could see that, man, there's a direction into where they're going. And I think what really grinds my gears about the Kaizer Chiefs is that there's no direction, there's no one willing to take responsibility, and there's no one willing to try things. And the pitch imitates the bench a lot. The pitch imitates the coaches a lot. Yes, it feels as though at Chiefs, they're so afraid to make a mistake that they'd rather keep making the same mistake that they've been making up to that point than to risk changing things. You know, there's no one in that team that takes responsibility. Not Marta, our captain, not Miguel, the second captain. They don't even talk, they don't communicate. And I'd just like to remind everybody, for everybody that again was going to speak about signings and all of that stuff, guys, Kaizer Chiefs has 7 wins last year, the calendar year of 2024. 7 wins. We've lost today. Before the last game versus Chipa, we were the only team in the league who were unable to keep a clean sheet. The only team. Now, I don't know if you guys genuinely believe that that squad is worse than a Makesi that's last. But to come into games and not even just leave that game going, phew, at least they didn't score. Not even being able to manufacture that. Not even being able to go, you know what, guys, let's get into defensive formations and just see this out. That's a big problem. It's a very big problem. Because then it makes me question what they do every day. Forget about the players. I want you to speak about the technical team. I want you to speak about the people behind it, the analysts, everybody. There's no point where on Monday they sit together and they go, guys, these are our issues. Can we solve these things? Even just from a point of pride from the players to come out and say, okay, coach every week is saying I'm not Chiefs material, I'm not his material, I'm not a quality player. Let me just play so that I can get myself out. Coach nai, complaining. Guys, these things all count. And you never have as much time as you think you have. I did a video speaking about how Coach Nabi Forget about the cream. Forget about all of those fancy things. Now it's time for you to play simple. You know, Steve Barker had a very interesting quote when they spoke to him about Mthethwa. And he said that he never asked Mthethwa, I'm paraphrasing, but he said that he never asked Mthethwa to do anything that was too complicated. And I think this is what Coach Nabi and his staff need to come down to. I think at this point you've watched and seen enough of these players for you to know their strengths and their weaknesses. In fact, you should have known this a long time ago. Can we not bring Ranga onto the pitch and have Ranga dropping back in to a 10, false 9-10, knowing that he can't track the ball, he can't play? Where his biggest strength is that he's physical, he's big. He's a menace in the box. But yet Ranga's on the pitch for however long Ranga was on, and there's not even one cross that's played, let's say. Even if we're just thinking, let's say. Let's look at Dupree's. What is Dupree's number one thing? It's his speed. How many times was Dupree's released on a defense that was not good in Cape Town City? Once, maybe? Then you watch him on the wing. So now let's ask a new question. If he's playing on the wing, what is he meant to do? Because he can't cross the ball. He can't combine. There was a ball where he literally ran it out. So are you not losing something playing him there? Let's speak about Uduba. Uduba, great player, signed as a striker. He's playing as a winger. Do you know why the wingers behind Uduba struggle? It's because he can't come back. So now you're forcing him there, and in that space, now you're giving somebody else more problems. Thank goodness for Mthethwa. You've pushed Mart up. You don't see what's happening. Umfundo Vilakazi has given us performance after performance after performance. He's not getting a start. We'd much rather continue doing the same thing that we had been doing that has gotten us the results that we've gotten up to this point. But insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. This is where I am with Nabi. And I'm at the point where I look at Nabi and I say, but coach, in as much as you come with a pedigree, in as much as everybody loves you, in as much as everybody waited for you to come, right now is where you're supposed to show that you are a coach. And if these players are not up to your quality, can we make it that at the very least you're playing them to their strengths? Forget about modern football. Forget about complicated things. Forget about doing all of those things. Just play a simple football that's going to make them play. Stellenbosch is in the CAF Confed right now. It's not because they've got the best players ever. It's because coach understands that this is what I need to do. This is all I need to do. I don't need to go and recreate Pep's football. Abu Makesi, Abu Polokwane City are doing well this season because guys, I genuinely believe that Chiefs does not understand where we are right now. We do not understand the place where we are. We don't understand, guys, that, new players, magical players are not going to fix this thing. Complicated starting lineups are going to fix this thing. And when you build, you don't build with the most expensive things. You don't even know what the building is going to look like. You start with a foundation that may look ugly, but that foundation is what is going to set you up for the future. And that means that somebody has to now take the responsibility and dig. And if it means you are winning ugly now, you set yourself up. You set yourself up to know that, okay, we're finishing 5th now. And at 5th, fine, end of the season, we're getting rid of these guys. But another thing that I despise about this attitude that we have at Kaizer Chiefs is that somebody else is going to come fix. And this Chiefs team is not going to sign 10 players. We can forget about that. This Chiefs team is not going to be patient with everyone. Forget about that. And if we rush and bring in people now, there's going to be a lot of randoms. Do you realize how many signings Kaizer Chiefs has made over the past few years? Ntwari, Miguel Dotley, Cross, Blom, Abo Mthethwa, Abo Potsana, Abo Modi, Abo Chiva Vairo. Think about how many people have come into this team. quality before they got here. But because we don't know what we're doing and we're trying to jump steps, this is what's going to happen. If a Magesi, a Royal AM can beat you with a plan, just come into a game with a plan, is that too much to ask from the players, from the coach? And now nobody's let off the hook. All of you are a problem now. When you do the same thing every week, if I know it, all of the other PSL teams are going to know it. Mushi Letrigal had that team for 3 days, and he knew how to attack Chiefs, where to go. It wasn't a surprise why Ditokwe was isolated. It wasn't a surprise why they realized that we won midfield. Let's pick some things off of there. And if Mushin can do that in 3 days, what are the other guys going to do? But he had a plan. 3 points in the bag, they go home. Tina, we're still searching for a 5th win of the league. We're still searching for a 5th win. Koliking. We're now sitting with a 0 goal difference. You can't tell me that there's 7, 8 better teams on paper with the players that they have. But something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. And for me, just simplify it. Simplify it and force the players to play exactly where they play. Because this other thing of saying the players are the problem, after 5, 6 games, if I've seen that you are the problem and you keep not listening to me, it's up to the coach to change things. So like I said all those months ago when people were swearing at me, the honeymoon is over. The honeymoon is over. And it could get a lot worse. We can't have it be a lot worse right now. Anyway, guys, see you on the next one.